Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about my top 5 favorite series of all time. I recently did a top 10 fantasy series, I think, and most of my favorite non-fantasy stories are standalones, so I probably should have planned this a little bit better because at the end of every year I I update my favorite authors, favorite series, favorite standalones, and a lot of these are going to be fantasy. Forgot to put my Rhythm of War book back after my review. Well, while I was up there, I went ahead and grabbed my number 1 top series of all time, because I'm starting at the top. The Gentleman Bastard series, starting with Eliza of Locke-Lamora, Red Seas Under Red Skies, Republic of Thieves. We have 3 of these. We're supposed to have 7. Will we get to 7 someday? I don't really know. So this follows the first book. I'm going to tell you what the first book follows. The first book follows a band of thieves. They are orphans who all have come together under this wonderful, wonderful fatherly figure, Father Chains, who treats them with kindness and love. I'm just kidding. It's a pretty brutal setting. These kids, they learn to swindle and lie and thieve and do what they're gonna do. It's a dark world. The government kind of works with them because they're cool with it, and oh, I love it. This is a fantasy series where fantasy isn't at the forefront. That could potentially probably change in later books, but as of the first 3, fantasy is not at the forefront. These are your average people living in a world with fantastical elements, and fantasy elements come into the story, but those fantasy elements are not the story. The characters are the story. This is a very character-focused story, but if you give it time, the plot is fantastic. It's also kind of a hard story to get into because we deal with a lot of flashbacks and they can be very jarring and abrupt at first, but once you fall into a rhythm with them and you realize why he's placing them where he's placing them and how beneficial, how much they work together in the way he does them, it's actually a really cool structure, and the characters are some of my favorite characters of all time. I'm big on friendships. Some of the best friendships of all time. I love the brutal world. I love the raw and fantastic characters. I love the relationships. I love the high stakes. I love a lot about this series. Book 2 is... Oh, I've been holding these in the wrong order the whole time. You won't judge me. Book 2 is similar, but we're pirates for hire now. I loved it just as much as book 1. Book 3 is more of a political plot. Also, there's a play. I think most of us agree that it's the weakest of the 3, but I still really enjoyed it. And I am excitedly waiting for book 4, whenever that happens. My second favorite series is going to be The Lord of the Rings. Now, I know, I do. Trust me, you've told me already. This was originally written as 1 book, published as 3, but should be seen as 1. But when I pair it with The Hobbit and The Silmarillion, it becomes, I'm gonna call it a series just so that we can all be on the same page. Now, I didn't love The Hobbit. I didn't dislike The Hobbit. I kind of felt kind of neutral about it. So then I went into The Lord of the Rings for the first time expecting to have a little bit similar opinions, but I wanted to experience a story. And it did take me a while to get into Fellowship the first time I read it. And then I went into, not book 2, part 2. I went into The Two Towers expecting to have similar feelings, but Two Towers blew me away. Return of the King, meant a lot to me. And then when I went back for my reread, oh my goodness, I appreciated Fellowship so much as well. I love this series. I love this world. I love the magic of this world. I don't mean the magic of, I love the romance of this world. I love the whimsy of this world. I love how simply magical it is and how expansive and huge it is. I love that Tolkien used a soft magic system. I tend to really love hard magic systems, but it's funny, actually, both of my main favorite series are soft magic systems. Anyway, I love that he used a soft magic system for this world because it fits this world so well, and because some fantasy series, the magic is just as important as the plot. And in this world and in the stories that are being told, a hard magic system simply wouldn't have fit. And I love it. I love it. I love the magic of this world, but not meaning the magic, meaning I love how this world is so magical. This world is so whimsical. And I didn't grow up reading it. I didn't grow up on the Lord of the Rings. It won me over as an adult. I love the characters. I love their sacrifices. I love the dynamics between them. Again, friendships. Hello, Sam and Frodo. But also Merry and Pippin. And there's, oh my golly, there's so many great friendships in this story. And man, I love the ending. So many people complain about the ending, but I love falling action, and there was a whole lot of falling action, and seeing what the world looked like after the end was incredible. I love the Shire. I love all the different places that we got to visit. Man, I love this story. I'm going to be doing a reread really soon. Actually, on my public server, they're doing a reread of this. They're doing a read of this. They're buddy reading this in the month of December, and I'm casually joining, but I'm going to be reading it slowly. I also happen to love the Silmarillion. Yeah, there are some parts that are quite dense, but there are also parts that are beautiful and tragic and heartwarming and heartbreaking, and oh my goodness, amazing stories in here. So my top 2 favorite series are the top 2. Their placement matters. My bottom three, the next 3 are kind of, you know, they're all fantastic, and they can be swapped out. But I chose to land in the number 3 spot, the Beartown series, a trilogy. It's gonna be a trilogy. We have Beartown and Us Against You. This is about a small hockey town in Sweden. Fredrik Backman, my favorite author of all time, lives in Sweden, publishes his books. I read the translated versions of them. Anyway, a small hockey town where all of their focus relies around hockey, and this terrible event happens. One of our characters gets raped, and it's the fallout. I mean, Bachman writes literary fiction, so the real focus of his stories is in character studies, is in breaking down really difficult concepts in very raw ways, and he showed a lot of people reacting to this situation, some of them terribly, some of them well, and there were a lot of really hard discussions had in this book. They're not easy to read, but man, are they good. And he said that it'll be a while before he publishes book 3 because these books take a lot out of him to write, and can't blame him. But as of right now, these books, they mean a lot to me. I appreciate them a lot. Next, we have the First Law trilogy, The Blade Itself, Before They Were Hanged, and The Last Argument of Kings. Oh my goodness, I love these. Again, characters. Oof, characters, they really drive me as a reader. This is another grimdark series, but I think that if you're relatively new to grimdark, or if you're unsure if you're gonna like grimdark, this is a really good place to start, because Joe Abercrombie has this amazing ability to go to really dark places and really take things there with very real stakes and stuff that it's just holy cow to read about without slapping you in the face with it, burying your nose in it. He writes grimdark in a way that I love to read it, where he goes there without needing to go there. Does that make sense? I mean, obviously that's subjective. You could think differently, but I'm talking about what I like, so there you go. There you have it. But also, his characters, never once do I feel like his characters make a decision because plot dictates. His characters are so authentic and real, and you always know why they're doing what they're doing, even if you really don't agree with it. And all of his characters are morally gray, where you don't want to be them, and you don't necessarily want to know them either, but you always understand them, and you may not agree with the decisions that they make, but you still kind of root for them because you want what's best for them, because they're just living in a dark world and doing the best they can, and they're making bad choices sometimes, but you get why. It's a weird position to be rooting for people who are horrible, but there's so much humanity to them that, I don't know, it's so hard to explain spoiler free because there's really not a lot of plot in the first book, so it's difficult for me to say much about the story without spoiling, without giving too much. But these characters, oh my goodness, so well written. And of course we must talk about the Stormlight Archive. Again, kind of difficult to talk about because the first book is not very plot heavy. So, The Stormlight Archive. 4 books, all about 1,200 pages each. And wow, attempting to summarize the Stormlight Archive. That's maybe my biggest feat yet. I guess I'll say this. Sanderson is one of the most incredible world builders out there. If you loved The Wheel of Time and you didn't continue on with Sanderson's work, you're really, I think Stormlight will get you there. I mean, if you don't know, Sanderson finished the Wheel of Time series, and he did a great job with the ending, with writing out Jordan's ending. And this world is massive, and the magic is intricate. And Sanderson is the type of writer that the magic and the world are just as relevant as the plot. They seep into the story. They are part of the story. But not only that, Sanderson writes characters in a way that I connect to them so hard emotionally, and obviously that's a big deal for me. He also makes it his mission to really dig deep into mental health in his characters and to do a ton of research and consult professionals and write them really authentically and well and not in stereotypical ways, which just builds on how complex his characters are. Am I describing the plot? No. And I might not attempt to do that in this video because we have several main characters, 4, arguably 5 now, and a lot is going on in their individual plot lines, but it's really, really cool to read. If you want a really epic series and you haven't picked this one up, I think you might like it. I love the series so much for the characters, but also because I think that this world and this magic and the story itself are also so fantastically done. Also, book 4 set up book 5 so well that I generally am fine with waiting for new releases because there's a lot of books to read, but I'm actually kind of not fine with waiting on this one. Anyway, there you go. Those are my top 5 favorite series of all time. Anyway, thank you for watching this video with me. I would love to chat with you more about it in the comments. Have you read any of these series? What did you think of them? Do you plan to read any of them? And what are your top 5? I want to hear your top 5 list. I post videos every Tuesday through Friday. I'll see you guys again soon. Bye. Oh my goodness. Oh, I hate it.